Okay, it's time to bring this thing home. Last commit was 2 days ago. Goodness. This is a long time to keep this feature branch in existence. Boo! Not a fan. Keeping it out for so long. Let's get it done. So, okay, we've got a to-do list here. We're creating gRPC on connection, on error handler kind of behavior. Test that the workers can have independent on connection event handlers and that those work. So I'm pretty sure I wrote a test for that. On connection. Call Zeebe client connection once when there's a worker and no broker. I got to give a better name for that the error message. Calls the on connection error handler if there's no broker. Doesn't call it if there is a broker. Calls it once when there's no broker and workers. Once each. Okay, a better name for this test. Call Zeebe connection, Zeebe client on connection error. And workers with no handler. Handler. Okay, I'm just gonna have to force myself to touch type, man, and just go with it. Call Zeebe client on connection once each when there is a worker and no broker. So let's make this a bit more distinct. Calls the Zeebe on connection error when there is no broker, and it's for the client and each worker. With a handler. Yeah, I actually can touch type on Colmac. Just gotta back myself. Calls the Zeebe connection on once when there's no broker and workers with no handler. Okay. There's no statement in here about the debouncing. Well, let's just do this. We'll make the test longer and just say debounces. On connection error. And then we'll make this test longer. And you know, something that I got the other day watching the stream of myself coding, because I've been reviewing my own streams. Oh, I'm my biggest fan, really. Watching my own streams coding, and I can see when I make an error. And I had the thought about the debouncing thing before I did it, that, you know, using another package from somewhere else is sometimes more trouble than it's worth, especially for something as basic as like debouncing. It's just better to write the thing because then you understand the code. Otherwise you're trying to figure out the API surface area and the internal implementation of the package to do something really simple. You just rewrite it from scratch, which I ended up doing. And then the other mistake that I made was, and in my defense I was coding at night and so I was pretty tired, was I went with throttle, and it's actually debounce that I want, because throttle is kind of like, if I send 10 REST requests, I actually want them all to execute, but not all at once. So they're going to be throttled, but they will all be executed. But I want debounce, where I get 10 calls to something, but I only want one of them to actually happen within a time period. Other thing I'm going to do, I got this thing for my shoulders, posture corrector, and I'll grab it.
We ask ourselves, what do they mean? Oh, you know?
So I've tried different keyboard layouts. I did Dvorak for a year. I've done QWERTY for like 20 odd years. Dvorak for a year. I'm now on Colmac, and then I bought this thing off, you know, eBay or whatever. It's like a posture corrector, but it's too small for me. But it did seem to work, so I got, it's like 20 bucks or something. this other one off Amazon. I did some research and got this one. So what this thing does is you put it on and then it pulls your shoulders back so that you're not slouching like this. So notice my shoulder has been giving me trouble in the morning, and when I go to the gym also. Like, getting into this thing's a bit of a mission. I'm gonna whack it on though. Okay, here we go, unassisted. Proud of myself. Okay, where's the end of this one? Okay, this is where it gets tricky. This is a good stretch. Man, there's a design fail in this.
As we look to the stars in the sky.
Okay. I got it. Flip it around. Grab it.
We ask ourselves.
And then pull it. Yes. So you pull this.
Are we alone?
Get both of them to happen. So get both of them.
And what is our meaning?
Kind of pull this thing tight. To kind of draw your shoulders back a bit. And then lock it in place. And this is just going to keep my shoulders back while I'm typing. So what I noticed from using this thing is that this little linear keyboard like this, that doesn't work. So I'm getting a split keyboard with my hands like this, because then my shoulders can be open. My chest can be open, shoulders back while I'm typing. It's weird typing on this little keyboard like this. Okay, longevity though. I want to keep going for another 20 years doing this because I love it. Now, we increase this time to 15 seconds down here, and should only be called twice, once for the worker, once for the client. Now these are in the integration test, so I'm gonna have to start a broker. Shouldn't be too hard. So I go into my Zeebe Docker Compose directory. Docker Compose. CD into the broker only profile. B-R-O-K. And then I'm going to do DC up. It's going to bring up the broker. Here it comes. Oh, there's already one running, so let's bring it down. Start with a clean slate. Don't look at the keyboard. Bring it back up. Then once it comes up, I'm going to run just this one test. So I'm going to run test integration. Integration. And this one's called onConnectionError. Okay, tests are running. So that one takes 4 seconds, that one takes 4 seconds, that one takes 6 seconds, 14 seconds. 14 plus 6, 20 seconds, and then 15 seconds. So it should take 35 seconds for it to run these tests.
When you're in the streets, you better.
What did I change in the package, Jason? Oh, throttle V-bounce, I can take that out. Let's do this. I took it out. Okay, good. Back to the code. The other thing is TypeScript 3.7 beta came out today, which is awesome. It's got optional chaining in it and nullish coalescing. Okay, good. So it debounces the connection error. Now if I go back to Google Chrome to do, make sure that business errors like create, fail do not call the onConnectionError handler. Okay. And then test that the previous API for attaching non-correct error handler to the worker still works. Okay, let's do that. Now, let's use this test here. And then we'll just say previous worker API.
When you're in the street, you better.
Don't look at the keyboard. Previous worker. Music's a little bit intense, man. Did I ever start my playlist with this stuff? What are we up to? Slushy, Watch Your Back. Heatwave by Tony Romero. Let's go with that. Thinking About You by Desiro and Bertie Scott. That's a bit better. Okay, previous worker onConnectionError handler API still works. That is a very badly named test. Handler. Reason being that it's now the previous one, but that's temporal, so we'll call it the trailing parameter. And then the next thing we'll do is we have to do a second test to make sure that it overrides any one that's injected through the options. Works K? Where's the K? So we're going to create one. Now instead of calling it here, cheats by looking at keyboard, Control X anyway. Create a worker here, and then we'll add the it's an unnamed parameter. It's another reason why okay, so gotta pass in like an empty object here, comma. Okay, expect it called to be 1. Yes. There's probably some kind of jest extension for like disable all other tests in this unit. I don't know if unit's the right name for this. All other tests in this suite, I don't know. Debounce this connection error, yeah, these are all passing, so I'll just in the interest of time, because time is money. Processor cycles, developer time. It's very verbose. 1 passed. Trailing parameter worker onConnectionError handler API works. Very good. But why is it logging so hard? It's interesting. So I think the non-presence of a log level in this parameters object here has overridden the environment to do this, which is not what we want. Should I fix that while I'm doing this? No, I should not. I should open another issue for it. Exploding complexity? No thanks. Okay, so empty worker options object overrides environment. Log level. Log level set by our environment. Huh. That looks like prior art. That's Olivia Albertini from the Ville de Montreal. Okay, let's have a look at what the code he wrote for it. I'll just reference it because I'll come back to this later. Park it. Prior art. And then I'll write a description of what's actually happening here. So what happens is, if we set this,
replaying your words there in my head. When you're not here, I'm stuck in bed. I'm starting to break. I'm starting to
backspace.
I'm starting to break down.
You can't use the tab key in here, which is a real bummer. You can only just go auto format. There must be some, oh man, you can't use the tab key. You can't use shift tab either. Boo. Oh man, it's like I'm on Silicon Valley. I'm pressing the space key 4 times to do space indentation. 4. I mean, the tabs versus spaces episode was funny, but I mean, nobody presses spaces. I use tabs. And it's for the same reason that these guys at JBoss said that they used them when I was working with them. They were like, look, I think it was Michael Neal maybe, Shane Bryzak, one of those guys, was like, hey man, you can choose. You get to choose. Do I have a call scheduled now? Check. No, I got one scheduled at 5, so I won't take that call right now. Because I'm working. And re-establishing your context once it goes out when you're coding is expensive. Okay. Now, I say this code. So I got a minimal reproducer. This code looks to create a worker. That has the log level set to info. Something other than none. Something other than none. And let's just do a sanity check over here. And that sanity check is that we should echo this out. No, not set to anything. And then I'm going to create another issue because we're going to deprecate this. Rename to like that. Doesn't need anything more than that, no, I think. Okay, we go back to the original issue that we're working on, which is implement note, connecting to nonic note. Yes. Okay, this work is actually more complex than that. I'm going to change the name of this actually. Edit. So we should say add client side connection error handling status ready and error. Ready and on connection error handlers. I did tell the guys in Kumunda Cloud that I would have this ready within a couple of days, but I gave them a workaround, reaching through the class into its internal implementation to do what they needed to do. Okay, yep. Yeah, save that. Save. edit. Doesn't need to be gRPC. There is no such thing as good writing, only good rewriting. There's no such thing as good code, only good refactoring. Okay, trailing parameter. Okay, so when we run this, did we run that yet? Trailing parameter worker works. This is a great track, this one. I think this is Note Taker. Yeah, the longest night. Okay, so we're going to add another test here, and we want to make sure... Man, those are long tests, they don't need to be that long. I changed it, so I got to rerun it. I can't change it, not rerun it. That would be ridiculous. 3000 here. And then what we want to do is we added a trailing parameter, and so what we want to do here is we want to go onConnectionError, and we want to make sure that it gets overridden. So in here we're going to say called, and then we're going to decrement it. No, this one. No. This one? Yes. Okay, so it should be 1. 3000 will run these 2 tests. Go. No. I got the AND Pro 2 because it's programmable, so you can remap keys. And I did partially when I switched from Dvorak to Colmac, there were some key mappings in Dvorak that I really liked, and I wanted to keep them. Neither of those work. Okay, because our connection tolerance is 3000, so this is the same mistake I made the other day. Hey, watching this stream is actually helping me to be a better programmer. There's no good performance, only good review of performance. Yep. I'm testing a feature that has a connection threshold, like a window, a tolerance window. Now, were we going to make that? I think we made that configurable. gRPC client. If I go to, yeah, it's not assigned here in the constructor, and it is not optional. This is the gRPC client. Let's have a look at the Zeebe client. What I really want to look at is these interface definitions for the constructor. Yeah, it's optional. So it has, by default, oh man, gotta update the docs. Okay, there's only one test left to run, and then we can update the documentation. That is to make sure that business errors like create fail do not call the onConnectionError handler. It's pretty easy to test. These tests are now working. And then of course we need to run them all. Now, to test that, that's a bit complex for this test. Go away. This one. So we'll copy that to here. And then we'll just say if there's a business error, that's what we call it. Binnet time! Don't look at the keyboard. Okay, the onConnectionError. And then straight after this, we're going to go ZBC2, create workflow instance. And there are no workflow instances, and we definitely know that there are none because we're about to give it a dumb name. BPM blah 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 blah. Okay, and then you're going to pass it some variable. Comma? There's a comma. And then these. No, these? No, these. No, these. Okay. Let's uncomment the test so that it will run. Save it. And then run it. And then I found after remapping keys that they wouldn't work on my Apple laptop. keyboard, so I got this thing called Carabiner, and then you have to write your own keyboard modifications in like JSON. Received 1. That's bad. That's very bad. We can't have the onConnectionError handler being called for business errors, because that's not what it's for. It's for connection failure. This could turn out to be expensive because, I mean, sure, I could just jump in there and do some kind of hack, but there's a fundamental, some fundamental error in the way I've wired this up, because I've just basically intercepted any error at the gRPC level. Which is down in gRPC client. Okay. Oh, look at that. Deeply nested imperative style code. I just feel like refactoring it right now, but I'm not going to touch it. So where's that getting called from? Well, let's try doing this. We'll go back to our onConnectionError handler, and then in our options here, we can specify a log level, and we're going to specify a log level of debug. What doesn't it like? Not sorted alphabetically, really. Dude, whoever set up these rules is pedantic, but it is kind of good because it means at first glance you can tell what is and is not there, and you can find things very quickly. You don't have to parse the entire list of properties. Okay, let's run it again with the debug option set, log level set to debug, and see what it tells us about what's happening. Make this a little bit bigger. I think we have all of the things we need from here. We'll get rid of that. Okay. No debugging information at all. Let's go down into here. So I think we go up. It's an event emitter. Oh, really? Let me just double check that my test is correct. Called equals 0. On a connection error, add 1 to call. Expect call to be 0. That should never get called. Expect it to be connected. I'm not sure if that happens or not. So let's move that to here. And then run it again. Using the debugger and stepping through code can be very useful. It takes something to set it up on a project. Not that much if you know what you're doing, but I have to Google it every time because I don't do it that often. But the problem with this stuff is it's so much callbacks and streams and like awaiters, you know, like generators and stuff, that it's a waste of time. Maybe it's not. Maybe I will set it up. Learning is good. Expected true, it says it's not connected. So whatever it's doing, it's throwing an error and then thinking that it's not connected. Handle gRPC error. Is that happening down in here? Well, no, none of these things are getting called. So is it happening up here? find all references. Assignments. It's called here. This is where wrap the we did that the other day, wrapping the worker. And then the gRPC client. So it's getting called down in here somewhere. Well, it's the create workflow instance method. So if we go to the create workflow instance method,
Only in my dreams have I seen things as beautiful as this.
okay, this is a little bit too mellow, bit too chill. Create workflow instance. I mean, every epic activity needs an epic soundtrack, and we're about to get epic all up in here. Only my dreams, into the light. Okay, this is the last chance for Pathfinder, and then we're going to skip over to ZP because it's a bit chill. Oh, this is cool. A bit more upbeat. Workflow, create workflow instance. Yep, this is what we wanted. Now, operations retry. Operations retry is true by default. Either way, it's calling the sync method. Operations retry. Yeah, it's not going to retry a that kind of business error. Let's go down to the execute operation. Yeah, this execute operation. Yeah. This, by the way, is where we would retry resource exhausted. Which is a request that I saw on the GitHubs somewhere else. So it's another issue though. So let me get it out of my brain. New issue. And then we'll put add client-side retry for, I think it's 8. Now, where I saw that was I saw that in the Zeebe Zeebe-IO. Zeebe? In the issues, and it should be pretty near the top because it was this morning. Okay, maybe it's not. Nope. Nope. No, no, nope. Viper. Oh, awesome. Yes. That's good. This one, I think. Yeah. It's in here. Copy the link. And then hashtag needs triage. we'll just call it @tree like that. Okay, can you not do hashtags or like, I guess tags, right? Labels. Use them for what they're meant to be for. Okay, back to what we were doing. Okay, what's the context switch? Has a cost. Okay, let me re-establish my context, what I was doing before I ran into this. Now we want to know why the business error is throwing a connection. Okay, so I say it would just execute this. So the sync method in here promise. It's right here. So, maybe, I know it's a long shot, maybe if I just do that, and then I come in here and uncomment all my tests. Oh man, there must be a way to do this. Have a look. Right here. Just toggle tests. Ah, toggle L. Yeah. Just toggle tests in VS Code. Tests in VS. See? No, that's where it isn't Dvorak. Here. Same with QWERTY. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. Okay, whatever. In the meantime, we should run the tests and see, do they now pass? Maybe that's all I needed to do. Maybe it's not as expensive as I thought. Maybe it's just a simple one-line fix. Maybe I was over-optimistic or over-eager in assigning, creating that error. Okay, so this DNS resolution failed error message is hard-coded to display on the console, and it's wrong. Message is hard-coded to console. Boo. I knew it was wrong when I did it. You did it, so. And you can tell that I knew it was wrong when I did it because I went and put a message into the test that say ignore the following error message. Nah, wrong. Okay, one of them failed. Which one? What? Okay, that's cray cray. All of the tests passed, except for that one. Okay, that is weird. But then it did call it down here. Let's have a look. That's cray-cray because the first one, okay, we know that the on-connection handler, if there's no broker, is triggered by an attempt to call a wait topology. Oh, which means that what's actually triggering the error when I do that is the business error. Because I removed that error from the sync method, so that stopped that from working. So I can't just remove that. I need to like. So according to that, if I run the tests again, the first test will succeed, and the last test will still fail. A little bit uncomfortable we're in this thing. Alrighty. All those hard-coded error messages are killing me. They're not killing me, but it was bad enough when I was looking at them, but now that they're streaming live on the internet, everybody's looking at them. People hundreds of years in the future are looking at it, going, what is with this guy? Okay, so this here throws for this, but that is not what is throwing for this. I mean, it probably also is, but something else is throwing for this thing. Zeebe client does not call the on-connection error handler if there is a business error. Does not call the on-connection error handler if there is a business error. This note taker again. How this happened? Okay. Must have liked it. Make sure that they're the same. Can see myself watching the video again and going, you're looking at the wrong test, dummy, but no, I'm looking at the right test. And then all we're doing is we're calling this. So if we dive down into here, this will call it. Sync method gets called. So when we call create workflow instance, get rid of this. Create workflow instance. There's always just a tendency to just go, just bang something in there and push it to prod, and it's like people can complain about it later. But I've got to get this to work and get it to work properly. A lot of people rely on this functionality. So I got to get it flat. I got to understand it myself. And if the code's too complex, I'll need to flatten it. There's no good coding, only good refactoring. So we create a workflow instance, and this method is pretty simple. We build the request, and then we do one of two things. We either execute the operation if the retries are set to true. If it's set to undefined, then it's true. So if we want this to undefined is falsy, so if we do this, oh, dangerous, he's taking code that's actually working and he's going to change it into something else. He's crazy. And then we can reverse these. Hang on, let me look at that again. If operations retry are false, this looks like it's backwards. Execute operation. If retry is set true, the operation will be wrapped in a configurable retry on exceptions. If it's false, it will be executed with no retry and the application should handle the exception. .342, go to the definition of this one. This is weird. Okay, the phrasing of this Boolean logic is not good because it says, you know, if operations retry is false, then do this, otherwise do this. But when you're parsing it as a ternary, you're like, if false is true, then this. If false is false, what? No, if this equals false is true, then do this. It would be better to align the two things, so you just say, if this is true, do this. If it's false, do that. Rather than, if it is true that this is false. That's part of what's messing me up here. So if options retry is false, then execute the operation. And this is the operation that we're going to execute. If options retry is true, then just run the thing straight up. It's definitely going to be no retries on that. Let's see what happens if we do this. Okay, I'm going to have to run all the integration tests now. Definitely got to get rid of that. And then why are all these log messages coming up? Pretty sure we set that to none. I might just fix this now while I'm at it. It's bothering me. Nope, this is probably in here. This might be a classic this other way around. You don't really have to do that this much these days because of arrow functions, but still, when you're doing things like this. Oh, there's no logger on the Zeebe client. Have a look. Oh my. It's part of the problem. I think I just quickly hacked it in one time. Logger equals new Zeebe logger. Man, I don't even really know how this thing works anymore. Which is why I love TypeScript, because I don't have to know how it works. I just have to type stuff in until it goes green. Let's move on, hey? Conroe. Yeah, dig it. Task type is... oh gosh, task type is required. So we'll call the task type, client, Zeebe client. Yeah, okay, this is what happened is I built the... I built the logger for the worker, and then this is what I ran into. I was like, oh gosh. I actually specialized it hard for the worker. Wonder if I can still use this in here. Yep. Let's get rid of this console. What an ugly hack. I'd actually written that C equals console to get around the no console allowed. Two failed, three failed. Okay. Which three failed? Let's run it again without those yucky hard-coded console error messages. This one. Used to be perfect strangers. Maybe I fell for you. Maybe it's nothing major. Just trying to speak the truth. It's pretty impossible for me to tell the effect of everything that I do, which is why the tests are important. You try to fix something in one place, you can break it in several other places. Yo, what is up? Why are these things emitting these messages? If we set the log level to none. Oh. 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 Let's go here and go, I might have set it somewhere. That's why. Oh, that's cool. And I actually wrote a my own internal implementation for this, but there's like loggers that actually do this, JSON loggers. But I wrote my own JSON logger that follows the standard that Pinot Pretty uses. Pinot logger actually does it. I should just inject Pinot. Well, that task type of whatever, let's find out where that is. It's in here. Did I set a log level in here? Let's do it like this. It's the only time I set it in there. These are not respecting the error logging levels. Now I'm fixing the log level error, which is a different error. But in order to debug what's actually happening with the behavior of this thing, I pretty much need to get that cleaned up. They're all in this file here, so I'd say maybe something is happening here. Oh no, I know what this is. This is this here. Edit. That's what's happening, it's this error. It's happening for all of those ones there. That should be pretty easy to fix, because if I go into the Zeebe worker, that's where it's happening. Zeebe worker. And then in the constructor, should it inherit the... No, I shouldn't inherit the client. Could have it inherit the client. Let's just see what it does now first. What? Galactic Trumpet, baby. Okay, so... Oh, man. Hacked together code. I mean, some of this code's really good, but like, look, there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so create worker. Here. So we create the worker. Now when we create the worker, where's the constructor? Options equals this dot options. Do not inherit the client handler. Okay. Put the new options on top. Hang on. Mutation. Okay, so I think then in here we should get rid of this. That should correctly handle it, I think. Galactic Trumpetto. What? It's in the Zeebe client. Oh, this is a great track. Now, find all references. Do we ever use it? So we just got to change this to this .options.log level.
He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. Now I'm on my way, oh I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me.
Oh. This is disgusting what I'm doing here. If this is not defined, then it will choose whatever options you've been passed in. Undefined still leaks in from here because this could be undefined. But if that's undefined, and that's undefined, then that has to be defined. Yeah, I see what's wrong. It's because oh man, this is not good. Yeah, okay. I got it. Well, you know what? You know what? Let's go down here. Okay. Fracturing, it's an anti-pattern because my interface says you don't have to supply it, which means it's optional, which means it could be undefined, but then once I get inside it, I'm assigning a value to it, which means that I know that it has a value. 102, let's have a look. Constructor 4. This is the Zeebe worker. What about if I do this? Now I'm making the problem worse. I'm just like extending the fracture further into the... And I'm just doing that to avoid like a larger refactor, which will require more testing and could cause more breaking. But this is going to be harder to maintain. Next time I come back, I'm going to have to spend more time to try and understand it. You should do it properly then. This thing doesn't do a whole lot of stuff. I mean, logging is part of it, obviously. It's really like logging, managing some kind of objects. It's really the ergonomics of like how you define the configuration of these pieces, the client and the worker.
The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes in America.
And I'm not sure exactly how people are going to use it, so I should just make it be consistent and intuitive. And then wait till I get the bug reports about, you changed the way the logger works. And then fix it. Okay, let's have a look here. Why is this logging out still? So I think that's because in the Zeebe client, when we create the worker, see if that fixes it. How long have I been going for now? I've been going for 1 hour and 8 minutes, and I'm starting to flag actually because I'm like, oh my god, what happened? I was just about to push this to production. Now I'm like dealing with the logging? What? I've opened more issues than I've closed. This is what I'm working on right now.
Crime and violence.
Let me do something a little bit different while it's doing this. Let's create a new project. Can I create a new project? No, I don't know if I can. Have a look. Nah. Boo. Might be better if I worked on these issues in my own repo rather than working on them in here. So then I could have project and stuff. No project. Oh, I can create a project. Great. Let's call it the 0. I'm going to do it with 021 0. Broker release. Brett. Oh, I could have done a pre-configured one. Add a column, whatever. to do. Yeah, these GitHub issue boards are pretty cool. In progress is the next one. Yes, preset in progress. Cancel. No, cancel. Man, you should just give me the ones, you know, accept defaults. Done. Oh yeah. So we can go to the issues now. We can add them to the projects. Okay, I'm having the experience of winning right now because I'm doing little micro tasks that are working. Maybe.
Sometimes in the night, I'm so afraid.
Epic. Eptic. Beyond the stars.
Above and beyond.
This one, Deaths, is going to that project, man. My goodness, 21 days old, this issue. So look at my project board. This one's a maybe. This one's a definite. Let's have a look. Here's the test run. Give myself some space. Let's take up that error message as expected, right? That's a real anti-pattern.
Sometimes in the night, I'm so afraid.
Amazing. Well, now 14 minutes of sitting down, I'm going to stand up. Oh, sorry about that.
Above and beyond.
Zeebe constructor does not throw when there is no broker by default. Okay, I'm going back to the Zeebe client where I made that change to the... And what I neglected to do here was to do this. To mark it. Lucky I could remember it. Let's see if I can get that down to one failed like this. I might be able to.
Above and beyond.
Above and Beyond. Now that's a great group. Not on Monster Cat though, so I don't have them streaming. This reminds me of Clanard. Clanard? I'm not even sure what I'm doing anymore. It seemed so clear when I started. It was like, oh, I just got to do one last test and I can push this thing and it'll be done. But no. What I'm doing right now is I'm dealing with a technical debt in the library. Like they're hacks to get the thing working to do what we needed it to do at the time. But then when it comes time, like, oh, we needed to do something slightly different. Now it's like you go back and you're like, okay, that hack actually breaks when I try to move those pieces together. Software is all about like modular pieces that fit together and then being able to reconfigure them quickly. There have been some refactors that I've done in here that have just been like that, and then some of them, like this particular one, a little bit dogged. Okay, well, one thing that we can see here is that the client logger is logging, still too failed, but it's the client logger that's the problem. And it's the new client logger that we created in the client. So, if I go down to where this thing's actually happening, it's down in here. This.logger. And then if I go to the definition of the logger, it's up here, yeah, and where does it get actually assigned? Here. Well, let's do this. Dude, this is pretty good. It's cool. I don't know what you call that music, but it's great. Bad computer silhouette. I'm gonna check out some more bad computer ones after this. Which is that test where it emits that error, because we'll just run that one. Worker failure. I think it's worker failure. Let's find out. Worker failure. Okay, I'm dealing with my own mental attitude towards the work at the moment. It's easy to get discouraged or make it wrong, but you just gotta always maintain like a positive, optimistic attitude towards the future. Okay, well that's interesting. It's not that test that's emitting that error. Maybe it's one before, no. The one after, one before. Okay, it's a few of them. Let's just run them all and see what happens. Be good to have a... What does this do? Oh. Oh, that's pretty cool. Dude, I just discovered that. That rocks. Let's do this. Oh, so good. Full screen terminal. For when you need it. So this log level is set to none. I bet it's set to none when it's actually logging. It's probably an error in the implementation of that logger. Specifically when it's called from client. Direct and kilobyte, 1 less star. No, the log level has been set to info. Somehow the log level got set to info. Okay, so I think if we do a search on the tests directory for the words info, we'll find out where it's getting set. Changelog, contributing, protocol file, in here. Yeah.
I wished upon a star last night and thought of you, but it must have been a dream.
Is this where I just changed it? Nope.
I've never been one to believe in fairy tales or fantasy, but perhaps it's time for a change of mind. I guess there's a first for everything. We fell in love, we had a fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what would come of us if we
Mutating the environment. Oh,
beginning. I'm drinking from
pretty sure I didn't write this.
empty cup. The hardest part of young love was growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city.
Okay,
Now there's one
let's do this.
star in the city. Now there's one less star in the city.
This mock spy thing, not a fan of that. It reaches inside the internal implementation details, and I did a change in the library and it broke this test, and I was like, what? Because it relies on the actual internal implementation. Not a good way to test. But I'm not going to do anything about that right now, because it's not broken, and it's right now not the problem I'm trying to fix. Oh, was that the only one? Yeah, pretty cool. I think I prefer the acoustic version of this song. Okay. Let's go full screen and run the tests again. Run. I hope I marked that with @debug when I put that in. It's interesting coding and streaming at the same time, because I'm like thinking about what are other people going to think of my coding? They're going to look at it and go, oh, this guy's just a hack, look at this, it's terrible. Somehow that's getting set to info. Copy that, and that's what we need to look for somewhere. It's getting mutated to info. Set the previous, then set it back to there. Info. Let's replace. Tests. Find in folder. Info. There you go. Yeah, what? No, that's just wrong. That's wrong. If that's the case, we should just make it public if we want to test it. Public log level. Over the top, man. Just do this. Hello. Just like that. Get rid of this. Overkill. Wow. How about this?
Whatever happened to the happiness?
Okay.
What you want to get it back for us? You take your time, then let me know.
Rock and roll, baby.
Stay or if you want to go. I know you have difficulty knowing me, but you don't have difficulty showing me.
Yes, slight English accent on that. WRLD, world.
I'll take you on a wild adventure.
Yeah.
If you want to go, we're locked in place and sing together, please.
Okay, fix as you go, fix as you go. Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. Just making it better each time. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, people are using it like effectively right now to do stuff. And we just want to make sure that we don't break anything that's already working, because it is working. Nothing's perfect. And we want to make it better. We want to make it more maintainable. We want to make the code architecturally, structurally more sound, more coherent, cohesive design, and add new functionality, which in this case is these onConnectionError and onReady handlers. That's what we're doing.
We haven't got unlimited time. Sun is out and you get to your prime. We're falling for love, we're falling for love.
Like outside for a while. The sun is in the sky.
You see the summer's getting closer. We don't feel like we are getting older. So show me
Somehow that is getting set from none to info.
on the wild adventure. If you want to go, just let me know. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything.
Let me just check these tests where we are mutating the level and make sure.
Synchronize with me. You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything.
Okay, so before each we're setting it to
I don't want to change. We'll just rearrange. I don't want to spoil my space. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything.
oh, this is great, this track.
You can be my everything, my everything.
Hey, if we're gonna do mutation, let's go all the way.
Synchronize with me. You can be my everything,
My everything,
you can be my everything,
everything.
my everything.
Don't know if my singing's gonna be in time with the music on this. Let's have a look here. Now what we're looking at in the Zeebe client is where I put that debug statement in. It's right here. It's in the constructor. We don't really need it in the constructor. Like where we need it is, let's go down to where it's actually logging. It's just the same track again. Yeah, got it in there twice. Loving it.
Whatever happened to the happiness? Do what you want to get it back for us. You take your time, then let me know if you want to stay or if you want to.
Let me add it in here.
I know you have
Ta-da!
difficulty knowing,
Now you can see my playlist.
but you don't have difficulty showing me that we just need to get away. I'll take you on a wild adventure if you want to go. We're locked in place and sing together. Please just let me know. Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything. Won't you synchronize
Here.
with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything.
Good. Okay, so there's actually two different things going on here. One is that a command could fail, and that could be due to a network problem. And then the other thing is that the network can just fail from a worker doing a poll, in which case you could end up with like lots of different error messages for different things.
We haven't got unlimited time. Sun is out and you get to your prime. We're falling for love, we're falling for lust, we're falling through everything. You see the summer's getting closer.
Okay, well it's just an artifact of the
Show me what
architectural decision that we made here to, and when I say we, I mean me, to make a Zeebe client and then to create the workers from the client, because they're actually quite different entities, really. Really very different entities.
with me. You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything.
Clients issue commands to the broker, and workers do issue commands to the broker. Somehow there's one getting created here with an info level.
You can be my everything, my everything.
Let's go back to that test. Unmocked in here. Nope. Zeebe client's back in here.
Won't you synchronize with me? You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything.
Wow, well, that's weird.
You can be my everything, my everything. You can be my everything, my everything.
That should not be a fact anymore. Oh, okay. We do now have a problem because change the behavior of it. The non-integration tests are probably not going to work without a broker running. Reason being that now in the constructor we actually call the connection.
I can hardly believe it.
In order to fail fast, which we didn't do before, so we had some...
Don't know where I'm going.
Okay, this is a rethink of everything.
Know that I'm better off alone. Feel the weight in its
Let me take a step back and have a look at this. So there's two types of tests. There are tests that do
started strong, but the day
kind of like the logic and the scaffolding and stuff like the constructor and...
I just wanna be me.
But now what we've done is we've introduced into the actual constructor of the Zeebe client like a fail fast thing so that... Why'd we do that?
Fight, 'cause I know we'll be fine. Just to say our goodbye.
Because in Node Red we wanted to
Be me.
so we could make that an option then,
I
like
just
a fail fast option. Yeah, we've really changed the behavior. So let's just test that the behavior has changed.
Looking back, how could we?
So first of all, stop the broker and then we'll run the non-integration test DC down. Huh.
But I know that we're better off alone. Feel the weight and it's pulling me under. Started strong, but the distance grew on.
Okay.
Wanna be me.
We've done that, so now we're just gonna go npm run test, right? Yeah. It's Wednesday today. Go for a walk and take a nap. That's what I'm gonna do.
'Cause I know we'll be fine. Just to say our goodbye. I just wanna be me.
OMG, these tests are passing.
I just wanna be me.
Okay. Somehow that log level gets set to info, man. What is going on?
I just wanna be free.
Which tests are running in here?
No, I don't wanna fight. 'Cause I know we'll be fine. Just to say our goodbye.
You know what? That test where it sets it to info, I'm just gonna get rid of that because that's just in here. Let's turn this test off and see if that fixes it. And when I say fixes it, I mean makes the error message go away. It's my definition of fixed. I mean, it's practically a meme, right? Developer comments out test to fix error message. No, okay, so it's not this, and that's the only place where we're explicitly setting it to info, so there's something wrong inside. Okay, something wrong inside there somewhere. Let's get rid of a bunch of the stuff that we're not looking at right now.
got it bad for a girl like you.
Okay, debug.
Me that you want me to. I want you bad, yeah. Been on the look for a stunner like you. No one can move just the way you do. I want you bad.
So,
There's no need to
this .log level. Oh man, I wanted to use TypeScript 2.7 today, but
be the
I'm not looking that way right now. Okay, if it's equal to info,
things we do, baby, me and you. Yeah.
okay, it's dumb. Let's do it.
No telling what we could do. Just wanna kick it with you.
What was I thinking? Oh, you don't like that? Okay.
I got it bad for a girl like you. I can tell that you want me to. I want you bad, yeah. Feeling my heart and it's cutting too. Making me feel the way you do. I want you bad.
Yo, what's up?
There's no need to be alone. I just wanna be there for you. I could think a million things we do, baby, me and
Messy.
you. Yeah. Just wanna kick it.
It's getting real messy.
No telling what we could do. Just wanna kick it with you.
One hour 43 minutes of coding.
There's no need to be alone.
What was meant to be a single test and then a push
Be there for
to production, it's now turned into a whole
think a million
thing. Okay, it's definitely a Zeebe client. Somehow it's been created with a log level of info.
Just wanna kick it with you. Just wanna kick it.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so what that means then is like
I still remember how it used to be.
this is missing from some of the tests.
Running wild and free.
That's all.
Our hearts said we never
Let's have a look.
I still think about our younger days. How we dreamed about a
Is that what I want to do?
holding you so
No, that's what I want to do.
in the backseat of your ride. We fell apart. Thought we lost everything, just lost in our memories. And I sure hope you do.
That's what we wanted to do.
Me like I remember you.
This allows you to override the this allows you to override it.
We drew
Oh my god, when I watch the stream back, I'm gonna see this about 40-50 minutes ago and go, you idiot, you walked right past it. And I still don't know whether that's because I've discovered it now that I can see it when I watch the stream, or, you know, if people are watching me and just going, it's so obvious. Sometimes, and I'm going to try this, I'm going to do 30 minutes, I'm going to stop, go away, watch the stream, and then come back and do it again. So I can get more inspection, more introspection. Let's get rid of that. Use this view here. Go back here. Let's get rid of this debug that we put in here. Because it's going to just magically work now. Oh yeah. Save. Are you ready for the magic? Yes, the magic, the miracle. And then, even when it works, I'm going to be like, great, I'm still not where I was when I first started 2 hours ago. Well, to be more accurate, I'm still not where I thought I was 2 hours ago. But I have code that is now closer to what I thought I had. Okay. So, run the integration test suite. And it will probably help if you bring a broker up for that. Yeah. Hello. Is it going to make it up in time for the timeouts? If the broker comes up after. While that's running, I'm just going to look at that. Here we go. So, yeah, you got the failed, and then, yay, it worked. Nope. Catch. Error. Promise retry. No, I'm not going to look into that yet. Really? No, that should be false. Okay, we've got 3 failing tests now. On connection error handler. And the Zeebe constructor does not throw when there is no broker by default. That's the wrong that's the wrong test. So it says it is in Zeebe client unmocked.
I see you and you see me too. We may be broke, but we see the truth.
What?
All this bullshit drama, I can see right through.
Okay, that's just weird.
They can't have, so they gon' put on you. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there. Over the
I think we should take that test out because that's no longer an accurate statement of its behavior.
Let's run away and be forever young. We'll catch the sun where there's no need to run. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there.
Yeah, because we should instead that's now handled by this onConnectionError. Okay. Let's run that. Oh, reduce the errors by 1 at least by deleting the test. But the test is no longer an accurate statement of the behavior of the library. And that's what tests often are. Someone should be able to go into the tests and look at them and go, how does this thing behave? What does it do? And so tests are another form of documentation. How does it behave under different circumstances, different scenarios? And also, how do you get it to do those things? Because you can, let me clean up my Google Chrome over here. No. Promises execute faster than callbacks. Enabling this would not be so hard. Dude. Conroe, heartbeat. Where are we up to in this list? I've no idea. Whatevs. What happened? Oh my goodness, now I got other... Okay, that's the original one that we thought was... I don't know about you, but I thought I was going to write that test and then roll out for the day to the beach. Or get on with some of the other stuff that I got to do. Writing some release notes at the moment. Work a long poll. I wonder if my blog post is up on the Zeebe blog yet. Let's have a look. Let's get distracted by the internet. (1 p.m. What's your main focus for today? No, it's not. Last post on there was from yesterday. It's about Zeebe and IoT with Node-RED, Cornelius and Patty. And then the podcast episode. Dun dun dun, Node-RED. Oh, I'd love to do some IoT stuff. I got some cool IoT gadgets to work with. Like I got this. It's an ESP32 board with a paper hat, like a display. So I got that. I got this thing here. It's an old school Raspberry Pi 2B. Let's unplug it. And it's got a little LCD display in it with a joystick controller. An OLED mounted on the board. This is a pretty cool little one. This one, I got a Wi-Fi dongle in there as well. So I got some IoT projects on the boil to go with my recent Node-RED IoT podcast. But if I can't get this library, like, this is like the fundamental piece of all of this. Like, none of the Node-RED for Zeebe stuff gonna work. This ain't working. Doesn't long poll by default. Expected true, but received false. Object equality. Doesn't long poll by default. You know what? I'm going to change that to does long poll by default. Long polling. It's definitely long polling there. Maybe it's a race condition, I don't know. Let's run it again and see if that fails again. Now I'm getting to the table flipping, rage quitting kind of stage. This is not going the way that I wanted it to go. And that's okay. And I definitely got to take a break because I've been at this now for close to 2 hours, so that's enough. I'm past the point of diminishing returns, really. Gotta go away, let my brain work it over. Go up, like, buy some blueberries at the shop. Get some fresh air, a little bit of exercise, let the brain relax, think about other things. Why is the long pole not working? I think that's a badly written test. But then these tests may be interfering with each other. Well, just before I do take that break, I'm going to run this test in isolation to see if it is some kind of race condition. Floating head over the code, man. That's just all class. I'm getting kind of clipped though. There, it's the edge. I need to put some kind of like thing around me so I know where the edges of my thing are. Outside. Back of the mic. Whatevs. Okay, so when you run that test by itself, it's fine. So therefore, I'm just going to run my onConnectionError handler test by itself, and then I'm just going to isolate this failure, and then we're going to work on that. And oh, the other good news is that we seem to have fixed the logging error. The logging issue. Although, now I'm not clear on what the precedence is for the worker. Eek. Yeah, they all look good. See, if I do this... Oh, this is like old school drum and bass. Zeebe Node log level. Pretty sure that's the name. Equals, set it to debug. Dude, who is this track? This guy's killing it, man. He sounds like he's straight out of the 90s, man. Platinum Breaks. Cloud None. Yeah. Good work, mate. Good work. And then we're going to run this command. And then, oh man, the problem is that these tracks are really good, so... you know, I just really want to walk away from this and push it, but the thing is, I can see someone puzzling over it and going, it doesn't make any sense how the precedence of this, what's the internal model of the precedence of these logging things? Like, how do I... Because they might want to inherit from the environment, and then if there are no specified options on the client, no, you override them, and you should override the workers as well. Maybe you need a client and a worker logging. Whatever. Too complicated. I am actually going to walk away from it and then leave someone to log a bug if they run into it. But then, people are left with a degraded experience of the library, and it's a developer experience is king. I wasted so much time on it. I'll be thinking like that. Tracking this down, it was a bug. But then maybe someone might be like, hey, that was cool, I contributed to it, I fixed that, I made that. Yeah. Okay, we're back to where we began, with a test that fails. It tells me that the onConnectionError handler gets called when there is a business error, which is not the behavior that we want. So I'm back to where I started, except the logging subsystem is now a lot better. So, dude, what are we even doing here? This is a mess. Okay, I'm calling it. I'm calling it. This is what I'm calling. Fixes number 81. Oh. I'm just the kind of guy who can fix multiple issues with a single pull request. Boom. I can fix multiple issues and open multiple more with a single pull request. Push to the remote. Look at that. Oh, let's just put this in and this as well and put it all in one PR. No, we ain't gonna do that. Okay, yep. I'm pushing to the remote. Might reject because it's gonna run the tests. Output. This is a checkpoint. This is definitely a checkpoint. Go to the issue for full details. Okay. Not this one. Go back. This one. Go to the issue for full details. Okay, after 2 hours of coding, I can say with 100% drop these puppies in here, making clickable items on a lit to-do list, and then update. Business errors. Sad face. Comment. Edit this. Make this a bullet point instead, and then make this bold. So what's that? Double star. Yeah, update the comment. Alright, think about you. Alright, I'm gonna take a break. 2 hours and 5 minutes into coding. Time to take a break for a while. Ciao.